we're Dayton's right choice. Catch our show where we break new talent. We keep it all things music. We keep it all things hip-hop. All the time. Well, if you don't like my show, don't curse your radio. You know that no one likes my company anyway. But if you listen closely and talk intelligently, then maybe you can be a disappointment.
You're live in studio today, again, on another Wednesday. You are stuck with me, like always, your disappointment for the evening. Every which way that you don't want to listen, we are providing you with that said information. Your disappointment for the evening, Brighton Jones. And my guest today is the not-so-disappointing Josh from the radio station. Josh, introduce yourself.
Hi, how you doing, man?
So why did I bring you on today, besides you being the only person that would do it? Give me a little bit about yourself. Why do you spend your time at the radio station as much as I do, sadly? Why are you here so much, and why are we always feeling like we're
always bumping
into each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do run a show every Friday from 1 to 2 called Chance Radio.
Awesome.
And it just kind of covers all the stuff that goes on at the college, the organizations, what's going on. More often than not, my guests like to go off on tangents, so we talk about pretty much anything. And then as of this evening, I'm now the assistant director for Brent.
Ooh, that's amazing. So are you technically my boss?
No, unless you work for...
I do. I work for Brent.
Well, no, I doubt it very much. I think I'm just more of his assistant.
That'd be hilarious if I accidentally didn't know you were my boss and just brought you on. And you're so who are you? Why do I care about you? This show, as I've stated before, and I'll state again and I'll state always, the point is to leave you dazed and confused, not really knowing which way about your day to go from now on, because sadly we left you in a frenzy of what just happened. And to start that topic, we're going to get right into the mix. Did you know that furries are now illegal in Germany publicly?
What again?
Furries.
Okay, yeah, furries.
The yiffing community are now illegal to be presented publicly. You can't publicly be a furry anymore in Germany. I
find that odd for Germany since they started the sexual revolution not that long ago.
Right?
So.
My big thing with it, and here's the joke I took away from it, and we'll talk about the logistics of all of it, but I guess Germany didn't want its history to be affiliated with people in costumes of dogs.
Really? Its history,
and its history is really rich in
culture
of,
and acceptance.
I don't know, acceptance and everything that Germany's predominantly known for. So it's not a big power play to imagine that they would make something illegal on the basis of it just being weird. But really, what do you let's start with that. Is there anything that we should worry about in terms of like the furry community? Do you think they possess some kind of hidden danger that we're not aware of that Germany has been so enlightened on? Or do you think Germany's just being close-minded, hard-headed people? Like, I don't know, they've been to most of the Jewish culture of the world?
Well, it wasn't just them, and I like to point out they also, attacked different races.
Yeah, no, they were not. They don't have a good track record for love and peace.
A couple years ago, I found out that the Masons were actually the most amount killed.
The Freemasons?
The Freemasons. But here's why, okay?
That's strange.
Because they include all faiths. So all of the Jewish, so everybody who was involved. But they were specifically attacking the Freemasons because it was easy to find all the faiths in it. But
that's crazy. I wouldn't have even considered like a Freemason to be a danger.
Right. Well, at the time when they told me it, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But if you think about it, Freemasons are huge.
On paper, that actually does make a lot more sense when you like spell it out for me.
But to go back to what you're saying about the furry community, I don't personally understand it. I will say that they haven't done me any harm.
Right.
They have their own personal
Name the last
conventions.
time someone stopped you throughout your day and was like, furry community. The last time that happened to me was a quad god trying to get me to take a pamphlet that said, here's why I personally will save your sin. He also had a t-shirt on that said women belong at home. So I'm going to take his opinions with a grain of cyanide and go on with my day. But I don't understand that, because at its core, what is being a furry? It's just like being gay or straight or anything else. So it's just a sexual orientation. So the
well,
fact,
is it really a sexual orientation or something they do? Something
I would
it's
say
an action.
I would say probably more of a sexual orientation, only because it's defined as like culture of people attracted to the same thing. And in a sense, isn't that what all sexualities are?
Well,
Like a bunch of straight people like each other, a bunch of like gay people like each other, and so on and so on. What's the difference from a bunch of people dressing up like dogs and yiffing?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, what the difference would be is time in it. But here's a question for you: what's the difference between them dressing up like animals and somebody dressing up like a nun or
so you
Zorro,
okay? So it's more of a fetish slash role play
to me,
slash
it's more of a how you enjoy to have and
okay,
I
that's
will
a
note,
completely different side of the coin, but still not in the sense of like negativity and like a different viewpoint. I guess I never viewed it as a something that you could like express, but not.
I mean, I don't see why you couldn't express it. I mean, if you can express BDSM or you can express
Right. If Germany is super into like rope bondage and terrible things like that, surely it could just bat an eye at people dressing up in dog costumes, but apparently not.
They're very open sexually in Europe.
Very picky.
Well, I don't want to say picky because
I want to say picky because they wouldn't even let a bunch of furries exist in Germany.
Well, okay.
Okay.
I will say this, that many things can be kept behind closed doors.
Okay.
But when you have a large gathering of them and say
of those people who do the same thing behind said closed doors.
Right. Well, and we're not even talking about that because they get together in conventions.
Yeah, I know. Like it's pretty openly big in
and now
America.
They're out in public spaces. And these are locations generally where children and stuff can be at.
Okay, so so it's not more. You think it's more of a protection act against like children and being influenced. But my thing is, should we have to shield them? I guess from this, because at its core, doesn't everyone get a chance to view everything at least once and figure out if they liked it or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you don't generally find that out when you're 7.
Yeah,
you
that's true too.
You generally decide around 13 or 14.
That's true too. It'll come later in life. It doesn't immediately creep up on you.
Like there are things I'm into that I wasn't into a year ago.
Isn't that crazy that you can be totally torn on something and be within like maybe a year?
Yeah.
Completely. Can you give me an example of some? Because I have one that is
yeah,
pretty revolutionary
let's
and pretty personal and pretty disappointing. So it fits the the theme of the show.
So yeah, like yeah, I mean, if you asked me a couple years ago if I was into feet in any way.
Okay, this is really funny you bring this up because one of the topics I actually had was foot fetish, yay or nay?
Okay, so like on a personal level, it's not like it's not a fetish.
Okay,
I would say from my point, but there are people with that particular fetish.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, if you asked me a couple years ago, is that something that like, oh, are you?
Here's the definitive sentence.
No
a year
way.
ago, someone asked you, "Do you find a foot sexy?" You're probably saying no.
Yeah.
Now, time goes on, same question, different answer.
I mean, so people with nice feet can have sexy feet, I guess. I mean,
That's
in the same way you can have sexy hands.
Here's the way I see it now. I don't think you should look at it as all feet. I look at it more as a, maybe you're really into that one person. So maybe that one person's feet are just really attractive
on one person, and then when you split up a year later, you look at them and you're like, "What?
What? Why did I like their feet so much?"
Well, feet, hands, neck.
But I kind of get that too because I think you can be slowly. Here's my argument. I think you can be slowly wooed into anything. Honestly, really anything if you just have the right person to introduce you into it. Now, I'm not saying that every straight person could all of a sudden wind up batting for the other team because they had a really good date with someone. But, and here's the example I give so that no one thinks I'm a terrible human being that's bashing people who like to explore themselves sexually. I was on a date with a girl once, and things were getting intimate, things were getting heated, as they do.
Right.
And I was prompted with a question that I have never been asked before.
Mm.
And in the heat of the moment, you either just roll with it or you freak out. And I didn't feel like freaking out, so I let her roll with it. And the ending of said story is that I personally now do not mind having a little finger in my butt if it's from a girl. Don't mind it. couldn't care less, couldn't mind, don't really care who knows at this point. It's amazing. I will go on record and say it's amazing, and here's why it's amazing. I was in art class, freshman year of high school. One Cody Happener, I think he's serving the military now, so I doubt he hears this ever. He rolls in, wide-eyed and all, as if he had met Jesus Christ himself the day before and was willing to pass along his teachings from beyond.
Okay.
He comes into this art class with this look on his face, and I'm like, dude, what's up? He's like, I'm not going to lie. I may or may not have had and I quote to Cody Hapner, strongest orgasm of my mortal life so far last night.
I gotta be honest. You have to have the highest listener base.
Me?
You have
no shot.
How are you not beating my numbers?
Probably because of the topics we're choosing to talk about.
Okay.
But regardless, he tells me the whole story. He's like, everything's going like right as rain, normal as always. And at the very end, he finally convinces his girlfriend, obviously, to like slip the pinky in the duster, and to his face of like pure excitement, enjoyment, like as if you were describing your favorite band to someone again. Like, it was hilarious to see the pure raw emotion from this story. So this whole time I'm like, it's gotta be amazing. No dude's gonna openly talk about this and preach so hard about it if it wasn't amazing. So eventually, obviously years later, now in college, finally having that experience, I gotta say, he was pretty spot on. I did not know dudes had G-spots, but that night we definitely at least found mine.
Okay.
I know, right? Isn't that such a great thought to keep for the day? Brighton found his G-spot.
Well, I'm glad that he managed to find his personal likes and dislikes, especially that early, I guess.
Yeah. I honestly, in a piece of me, is a little jealous that he was just that ahead of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because some people probably looked at him as a crazy person. Now I'm looking at him like a saint. Like, he had some gifted knowledge from beyond that he knew that only he was like the crazy guy at the end of the street preaching the end of the world, and then the next week the world really does end. You're like, oh god, we should have listened to Cody with the pinky and things. But strafing away from that, let's get a little more serious. Do you like old rock and roll?
Yeah.
Do you
well, it depends on what we're talking
60s,
about.
70s rock and roll?
Yeah, if we're talking Eagles out of California and stuff like that, yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Do you, in turn, listen to anything like, because you have that same skill set of like enjoyment for particular sounds in rock and roll, do you have that same enjoyment for like 90s rock?
Because 90s rock?
For me,
the same kind of enjoyment? No,
yeah,
I enjoy 90s music.
Okay. Because,
yeah, I mean,
and here's the reason I bring it up. The whole reason I'm dragging this music topic out is because there is a specific band in the 90s of rock and roll and 2000s that changed the face of rock and roll music forever, and that band is named Nirvana. That band made...
Okay, we can talk about Nirvana.
We can talk about Nirvana. That lead singer, Kurt Cobain, famously took his own life.
Yes.
I am here today to say I have a guess on what caused that event to happen. Here is my statement.
Okay, so before you do that.
Yes, before I make a very hard statement that everyone will then hate me for.
Do you believe that he did, in fact, commit suicide himself?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
100%.
Okay.
And here's why. Kurt Cobain, lead singer of Nirvana,
yes,
most famously all the time quoted during interviews for how much he poured his heart and soul into that album, the very famous album that got them all famous with The Kid Underwater, and how of all the time, effort, and sweat and blood he poured into every single song, the one song he didn't even try to write was his most famous, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Everybody knows that song. Everybody knows the intro. You start hearing it, everyone knows at least how to hum along to it. And he hates that because he said that the day they came into the recording studio to do that song, he was all messed up on pills, alcohol, hungover, wasn't really in the mood to play music. And famously, that song doesn't even have a complete lyric set because he had to make up a word to finish it. I think in the line where he's like, a mosquito, after that, I'm pretty, or it's either that or after the albino line. He makes
tacos.
yeah,
Right.
he
That
makes
whole
up,
section,
he just
nobody
makes
knows
up
the
like
words to. Yeah.
like everyone sings it different.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of me that loves that because that makes us love that song a little bit more. But famously, he hated that song so much. He said that every time he would walk on stage for concerts, before he even starts playing the first song of the set, Smells Like Teen Spirit. People, that's all they care about. And I think that broke him eventually as a person to, throw your life, your work into this whole album and everyone only focus on the one song you really didn't care about. I think that would tear him up enough to eventually cause. And I know that's a big statement to say, but honestly,
No, it's not.
I think Smells Like Teen Spirit eventually drove Kurt Cobain to take his own life.
I mean, there's a concept in psychology called displacement.
Okay.
And it's famously used in the way that if I'm super mad at you, but I'm threatened by you, that I don't do anything to you. And then I go to the next person who I don't find threatening and I convey my feelings there. So it's called displacement.
Okay.
So if you spend all of your time working on one specific thing and all your effort, and then once that effort's out and like for his example, his album, he threw his heart and soul into it. And then afterwards, once it was out, that was pretty much it. And he was, so he had to find an outlet for it. Now, I will say that depression is there all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything can spur off to the moment of wanting to have suicidal thoughts. And who's to say they didn't have them prior to it? And on top of all that, too, he's having a lot of problems with his girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, and I knew that was also a huge factor. And there's a lot of conspiracies to say that, like,
worse than a broken heart.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. There's a lot of conspiracy actually to say that like maybe she killed him.
Yeah, I heard that too. I don't
know if I believe that, honestly. I don't know. I mean, honestly, like if I'm looking at it realistically, what could drive a man crazy? Yes, a woman is always a really funny answer to that. But honestly, knowing that your whole life's work into an album is being ignored because everyone only cares about one song off of that album could be enough to drive a dude to kill himself, honestly.
I mean, that being said, I will follow that up with if I ever came out with a hit song and everybody centered on that one song and not the rest of the album, I'd be just as happy rolling in the money.
And I think it's just a perception thing.
He was an artist.
Yeah,
I'm not.
And he bled for his music. He loved to just come up with these incredible. I mean, like Jimi Hendrix was known just for all of his riffs of guitar playing without even putting lyrics to them, and isolating just the skill alone to play those little ballads are incredible feats of music. And
earlier you said that Nirvana shaped 90s music.
I say they shaped 90s music of rock and roll for this exact statement. Nirvana was definitely like an upcoming band. It was going to be famous, no doubt. People liked them. But, and I hate to say this, his death.
Yeah, his death
marked their existence, his existence into music and Nirvana's place in rock and roll forever. The band had skill, and if I had to pick my favorite Nirvana song ever, it'd probably be In Bloom. Not only because Sturgill Simpson then did like a country version cover of it and then got a Grammy for that record, but it's just a beautiful song. And if you just like, I know a lot of people don't have the time or efforts to do so, but like taking a couple hours out of your day every once a week to just listen to music and like self-explore your own mind and really focus on the lyrics. And honestly, what I'd like to do is almost come up with my own music videos in my head for like the songs that I've probably never seen a music video for, but I've listened to all the time. And just that itself can make you appreciate that music more.
Yeah.
And I mean, going through all those albums that he said that he like everyone never listened to because all they could focus on that one song. I got where he was coming from. So many of those songs I fell in love with, and they may not be the most important band in rock history because I don't believe that at all, but I believe that they definitely helped shape it, just how Biggie Smalls, Tupac, and the Wu-Tang Clan weren't the only three names in rap history ever, but they were definitely three that helped push it along the right direction.
Yeah, it went from hip-hop to rap.
Yeah, exactly.
And they told a story.
Yeah, it's just... That's what I love about specific kinds of music, is just the story behind it. Like, you can give me good beats, whatever, but like, there's something about like, okay, one of my favorite records of all time, where I believe it's the story, at least behind the record, was Leonard Skinner's City of Fire. Okay. They printed off 200 sets of that record And then the plane crash happened to where most of them died. I think 2 band members survived that plane crash that are still touring with Lynyrd Skynyrd to this day. Oh. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the stats.
If they're still touring, I'd be impressed.
After that plane, I mean, they literally only got 200 records or something like that off the presses. And then the plane crash happened and they were like, we can't make this album cover. It's literally them with fire everywhere. This is not going to be the good image. So that record, to this day, if you find it in a shop, usually you'll find just them, and it's just black because they just took out the background. And my dad, one of the coolest things he ever did, at least in my eyes, was buy one of those 200 Before Plane Wreck albums, and we have it downstairs in my basement.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's one of the little things I'll hold on to forever, just because of the story. The story itself presents so much to the music, and relating it back to Kurt Cobain's death, that story added so much to that album. Maybe he knew that it wasn't going to be the album it needed to be, but the work was there. So potentially a death of a very famous musician could get that album very well known. Yeah. And that's a scary reality, but the best die young. Jimi Hendrix is part of the 27 Club. So is Elvis. So is people like that, I think. And, you know, I hate to say it, but there's almost a guarantee that you will be remembered way better than you potentially will be in your later life of playing music if you can just die at the peak of your skill. Yeah. And to say that that was his peak of his skill is not the statement I'm going to take, but for his known living life, that was, because sadly he took his life, and we don't get to see a 45-year-old Kurt Cobain playing, you know, skill of songs he learned throughout his life because he's not here, and we have to deal with that accordingly. Just how Tom Petty overdosed. I mean, oh my God, of all musicians to die, I didn't think I was ever going to lose Tom Petty. He was a voice actor for King of the Hill. He played countless albums of songs that I could sing off the top of my head. He helped revitalize Johnny Cash's career after it was kind of in the toilet and there was a chance that no one was really going to remember him. And then he ended up helping save his life forever. So, like, it's just stuff like that. It's like, I don't care about how many sales a records get.
Yeah.
What matters to me is the story behind that record and how they got there. Give me facts about the musician. I don't know why I care, but I do. Give me, like, I could tell you the whole lifeline of Jason Isbell's relationship with his wife, who he used to be the drive-by truckers and blah, 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 and it doesn't matter. And my thing is, why? Why do I care about these unimportant details?
Well, I mean, they're important to you because you like history.
I don't know if I like history. I think I like music history.
Well, that's something you can study in history.
Yeah, I guess so. But like my whole barrier I can't get past is like, why do I care? Why do I care about music facts and blah, 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 when I really should probably be studying how to program in JavaScript for my exam that's coming up? But you know what I mean? Like, why do we immediately differ to stuff that we're interested in, but we know probably will never help us in terms of knowing that information? Like, I'm sure you probably have a hobby that, like, you spend a lot of time knowing about, but in all reality, will that hobby ever actually help you? There's a good chance no.
It did help me.
Did it?
Yeah, I'm a magician.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to make okay money at it.
Oh, okay. You want to talk about that?
Sure, if you want.
Yeah. What being a magician, it's funny that you say that. Some of my stand-up jokes that I write all the time, one of my favorite intros that I've ever written that actually got a couple laughs one time, which is saying a lot for me, is, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually a magician tonight. I'm not a stand-up, and now that I'm on this stage, you'll have to watch me disappear your happiness and stuff like that. And it's just like a big shot against musicians. So it's funny, or magician. So it's funny that you ended up being one. Yeah, tell me about that. Like, where did that even start?
Well, when I was like 7 or 8, David Copperfield was really popular.
Okay.
And he was flying around stages, and making the Statue of Liberty disappear. I watched the Statue of Liberty disappear, and I immediately got the concept. I immediately knew how he did it.
Really?
Because, without giving it away,
I think I know how he did it too.
Really? Okay, let me hear.
I think it's a system of like mirrors.
Okay.
And reflectivity.
Okay. No.
I don't have the logistics worked out, but that's what my guess is.
No, it's a lot simpler than that.
It's a lot simpler than that? Am I overthinking this?
Very much.
Okay.
And that's what fooled the entire world.
Yeah.
The entire world. Though he will always go down as the man who made the
fooled
Statue
the world.
of Liberty disappear.
Yeah. And that definitively is a nice title to hold. Like Houdini was like one of the best straitjacket escape artists and stuff like that. So I can see the appeal that would come from like capturing a title like that. Forever in History being the guy who made, what would be a really crazy one? Like if you could make like a NASCAR disappear
How
mid-race.
about making an entire city disappear every night and make it reappear the next night?
That would be crazy. What do you call that?
Well, that's an actual thing that happened in history.
Really?
Yeah, Dante was a magician. I actually have his Dante's Devils tattooed on my left arm.
That's amazing.
He famously pretty much started magic as you kind of know it today. So
Okay.
pulling flowers out of thin air.
He was
stuff
the first
like that.
to sort of
pretty much
like
the
be a
first, yeah.
trickster of that sort.
Well, during World War II, he was hired to distract the Nazis from blowing up London.
That's crazy.
And so his concept in it was building a miniature mock-up of London, light up and everything, setting it several miles outside of London and lighting it up. Well, every night, from above, there's no depth perception.
Yeah.
So every night, the planes would fly over and bomb.
That's crazy.
Right, yeah.
That's
so it really
such a
cut down,
genius
really
little
saved
idea.
London, yeah.
I think it's more like magicians' mentalities are what separates
so
them.
When I was watching David Copperfield do this and I got the concept, I realized how easy it was to mold people's
Perceptions of what's real and doable.
And just simply by listening to him,
Mhm.
he fooled an entire nation. And I realized it because I wasn't watching. I wasn't allowed to watch TV. I was hiding behind around the corner.
That's crazy. But
and by just listening to it is what gave it away. So I imagine that there was
just having the audio gave you the answer. Okay, that's an interesting
so I imagine
concept.
there was a large subset of, say, people with disabilities like blindness
that probably
who
immediately
were like,
got it.
Wait a minute, right?
Okay.
So for me, that pretty much sparked it, and I started doing, the usual, look over there, and then make an egg disappear.
Yeah.
Well, then it was early '90s, and The Masked Magician came on, and then before I'd done some performing prior to that, but The Masked Magician came on and gave away all these secrets that for me growing up, it was really disappointing to find out how they happened, but I was still excited because
it's disappointing, but then it's also revolutionary to figure it out because in a sense you can be like, wow.
Well, here's a little secret, right?
Okay.
He belongs to the International Brotherhood of Magicians.
Okay.
Okay, and the Society of American Magicians. And famously, Houdini was the president of the Society of American Magicians.
Mm-hmm.
But he was actually a concept, another magician that they put out because what they wanted to do was further along magic. Because for so long, magicians stagnated doing the exact same thing over and over.
Yeah,
and
it
over.
probably got a little repetitive.
Right, so they wanted new stuff. Well, ever since The Masked Magicians, if you type in Shim Lim into YouTube, if you type in Justin Flom, Wayne Hoochin, which, by the way, real nice guy, Wayne, Matthew David Stanley, he's a local area magician that kind of spawned from that era, too. Mm-hmm. There's actually a sticker back here.
That's awesome.
He's a really good friend of mine, real nice guy, hilarious. He's a comedian, too.
Aren't they always?
Yeah, well, comedy and magic go hand in hand.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from that because it's very much of a stage presence, very like, can you get the audience on your side, and can you trick them into either laughing or being
even
amazed?
Better. Let's say you mess up a trick.
Yeah.
It's automatically a joke.
Yeah,
So then I was in high school, and I pulled a brawl out of my principal's shirt.
Wow.
Which saved it, trust me, because earlier in the show, I had flung a torched rose all the way across the gymnasium, still on fire.
That's amazing.
That burn mark is still inside that gym on the floor.
That's your piece of history. The kid who burned the gym.
Yeah, so lucky. Yeah. Well, actually, I found this out later, but I actually was very well known in that school for a lot of other stuff. But I kind of just I realized earlier, remember, that you could mold kind of people's conceptions and stuff. So I just played it off like I meant to do it all, and I realized how gullible people were.
That's amazing.
So then I kind of went from that. I went, to cards, got really good at those. Went to sleight of hand, got really good at that, and I started teaching people how to cheat at cards and stuff like that. And
that's amazing, and that's actually like a little job in itself. We are going to pick this back up after our break. We will magic talks.
All
right.
You are now listening to WWSU 106.9 FM, Fairborn, Dayton, Dayton's right choice for radio.
40 seconds.
You want to be 20% cooler? Tune in every Wednesday, 12 to 2, for the Cray Raider Talk with me, the Cray Raider herself, DJ Sammy, here at WWSU 106.9 FM or WWSU106.9.org.
Hi, my name is Allie. I'm a nursing major here at Wright State, and you're listening to WWSU 106.9 Dayton's Right Choice.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, after our break. Thanks for hanging on with us. We have been accompanied by new people. I think our talks of magic and wonder and whimsy have been enticing. You two will probably have to share a mic, because I don't know if mic 4 is Is mic 4 still working?
Yeah, he plugged it
in. Oh, dope. Okay. Introduce yourself, boys. Let's get you know me, the disappointment himself, and you know Josh, of course, who we've been talking about magic and fisting for the last however much time. Stefan, you're here again. Let's introduce you. We didn't do a great intro for you on the first show, so this gives us a chance to who are you? Why do I care about you?
Well, I'm the Mr. Sexy Chocolate in the radio station.
I would agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's me.
I'm white chocolate.
Yep.
I'm the chocolate that no one eats in the box, and you throw it away, and then you open it like 2 weeks later, and then it has the spots all over it, and you're like, oh, it's probably still all right. And then you take a bite, and then you really regret it.
Disappointment chocolate.
That's me, chocolatey. And then my technical boss, I guess. I mean, I'll call you my boss if you want that thick title, but Brent.
Or Daddy.
Who are you to the station? Let's call him Daddy. That's good.
Yeah, Big Poppy over here. I am the Director of Production and Training.
And you trained me.
I did.
You caused this to happen.
Yeah, I think about that every night before I go to sleep.
I stay awake for a long time.
That's what you think about? That's weird.
Training him? That's what you think about?
No, I mean what I've brought here.
Okay.
Yes.
This mess I've created.
That's amazing. So we were talking about magic, whimsy, sleight of hand, things like that, because to my knowledge that before today, I didn't know Josh was a magician, let alone knew a bunch of crazy, awesome magicians, let alone apparently knows how the Statue of Liberty disappeared.
I do.
Do you want to now, after break, entice us with the details of how he made such a thing disappear?
No, I'll tell you how another thing works if you want.
Okay.
All right, so if I tell you over and over and over, I'm going to make this microphone disappear.
Okay.
Okay? And I keep showing you photos of it. I keep showing you videos of me in front of it. And then I go to commercial. And you come back. And I have a curtain right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing in front of this curtain. And I say, and now it's disappeared. And then the microphone's gone. Did you see the microphone behind it? Did you see me raise it up?
No. I mean, yeah, I guess that's a pretty good...
I told you it was there.
That's a good little way to look at it, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
People are really easily...
People are easy to fool. And I know that's 100% true because of all the dumb stories I've heard at stand-up clubs of dudes preaching on about stuff I know is a lie and people are still buying it. It drives me crazy.
There are no true stories in comedy, man.
I don't think they're... I mean, I told a pretty true one about going on dates with my vacuum cleaner getting dusted, but other than that...
Wait, do I know this story?
I mean, we talked about it earlier, but we can relive it for a sec. Basically, the end...
Awesome.
And yeah, I know, you're looking forward to this. The end assumption of the story is that we shouldn't close ourselves sexually because you don't know really what you like. And affirmatively, I have taken the stand finally on radio that, you know what? If it's a girl, I don't mind a pinky in my duster. I don't mind it. Feels nice. Didn't know guys had G-spots. Oh, but we found mine. So...
Hey, dude, more empowerment for you.
What do you think about that? Do you think it's a little feminine to be fingered as a guy, or do you think it's not feminine and you should just roll with it?
That is a difficult question to answer.
Stephen, would you let a girl finger you?
Nope.
I mean, nope. Well, what I'm saying is, you like somebody personally might not want that to happen, but just because that's your thing, I don't know what the correct answer is as to like, okay, does that make you any less of a man? But I mean, if you're so,
it probably at least makes you more comfortable with prostate exams.
Probably. probably.
I'm not comfortable with those.
That would be an awkward.
You're not comfortable with those?
No.
My guy makes jokes.
Why are you getting him this young?
I like to be safe.
It's
It's not a good answer. It's just the one I have.
Okay.
Listen, you don't look into details like that.
True, but I mean, you being out here on air saying that you'll take a pinky in the butt. That's
Female only, though.
Female only, but
That's the definitive
still,
part of the sentence that
still,
matters to me. I don't want it to be a man's pinky.
Well, of course,
because that obviously makes it so much better.
but that takes
women that are doing this?
takes some balls to say.
And now it takes a lot to convince a woman to do this, but yes, eventually you meet someone that is loving enough and understanding to be like, you know what, it's just a pinky. There's enough soap and water to make me forget about this in 10 minutes. So, but let's shift gears a little bit. We talked about magic. We talked about hilariously gross things. We talked about Nirvana for a while, and that was fun. Let's get into something a little more serious, and we can make fun of it like always.
Yeah.
Does love die? Everything in this world has a carbon date. Everything has an end point. Everything does not exist forever. In our knowledge, that is not like theoretical math. Does love die?
Yes.
Or does it live on after death?
Nope.
It just dies. I like that.
Yep.
I like that hard, cold answer of like, love dies.
It does.
Like your grandparents. They all eventually leave you. Get used to it.
What is love? I'll prove it to you.
Baby, don't hurt.
I was
me.
like resisting every urge to sing the
Don't hurt
lyrics.
me.
Love itself is a emotion that we've made up that we think represents the chemical whatever connections that happen within us when we like see someone we want to mate with, I guess.
All right. So when you first meet a girl
Okay.
and your brain's firing off all the chemicals inside of it, I know them, but I won't bore you with them.
Okay.
You get this feeling of euphoria, right?
Okay.
Several years down the road, that euphoria goes away.
Okay.
Take it from somebody who's been married twice. Okay.
I like that answer.
It doesn't mean it goes away for everybody at the same rate,
Okay.
but the chemical does dissipate.
Do you think you can have a strong enough
Yes.
euphoric
Let
feeling?
me finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
When you get to the point where you start to lose that chemical,
Okay.
it's literally a daily decision. When you go, I mean, you're deciding it subconsciously or consciously, but
Mhm.
you're still making the decision. I'm going to continue to love this person for what they do. Okay?
Oh, that's a different way
So
to look
once
at
that
it.
chemical's gone, the person passes. You can be in love with the memory of the person,
Okay.
but love does eventually pass away. And I'll tell you the timestamp on it:
Okay.
18 months.
18 months.
That is the general average from where a person
Dang,
gets
that's
over.
way shorter than I thought it was going to
Well,
be.
that's the general average when a person generally starts to get over a loss of a loved one. Okay.
Oh, that's a different.
So 18
okay.
months passes, you start losing your dreams, your memories start to dissipate and stuff like that. So love does have a timestamp biologically.
Okay, I like that.
Now you can sit there for 20 years after a person passes and still be like, I miss her and I love her.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a daily decision you made.
Okay, that's not more of a everlasting feeling. That's at some point you
decision
could
you
wake
make.
up another day and just be like, you know what? I don't think I can love this person
When was the
anymore.
last girlfriend you had? You got a girlfriend now?
Yeah, not. I mean, technically, we'll just say yes
Which
to
one?
which one? Am I right? Yeah, of all the non-women beating down my door, we'll just assume and say yes. I have a girlfriend
All
right
right.
now.
So when was your last girlfriend?
My last one was we were dating for my sophomore year of high school till my freshman year of college.
All right. Freshman year of college, she breaks up with you.
Yes.
I'm assuming because that's what happened.
Yes.
Okay. So she breaks up with you. You both say, well, it was kind of mutual, but it wasn't.
It wasn't. It was a.
And-
I know.
And
We
you're
always
sitting
like
there
to
inside
lie.
your room
Yeah.
pining, and your friend comes in. He goes, man, we just got to get you out and get you to the club. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, no, man, I don't feel like it. And he's like, look, it's better to get under it and then over it because that's how you get over it, right? It's a decision you make to get over it. by
That is
getting
true.
out.
I guess if you're not getting over it, it's probably your choice that you're not getting over it. I like that mentality of like love dissipating over years.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, you could still love somebody.
Do you think that there is a natural occurrence of this euphoric like feeling in terms of like having this connection between two people that can last a lifetime?
No.
Or do you think it's always inevitably doomed to
Your
fail?
entire body is a machine that produces chemicals.
Yes. I
Once
agree
that,
with that.
quits producing that chemical, it's simply your logic that you're deciding to make this decision with.
Wow.
Dang. So at some point, all old people feel no love anymore.
Unless they make the decision to continue to do it.
That's heavy.
Oh, there you go.
It's
So
very.
love is a choice.
Love is always a choice.
I like that though.
After 18 months, love is a choice.
After 18 months, love is definitely a choice. But before that, love is not a choice.
Yeah, I mean, a loss of a loved one can reignite that chemical going as well. So I mean, it's simply you constantly producing these chemicals. And that being
maybe
said,
look at it like a fire
everything,
sense.
or just love with humans, like other individuals.
Oh, you mean like other animals? Yeah,
Yeah,
all,
other animals.
All
There's
animals.
Jobs.
Not
all
every
animals
animal
do produce this type of chemical. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean they influence it to relationships because very few species do
mate for
monogamous
life or
Yeah.
but there are I would say you could probably count them on two hands of like animal species throughout the world that like do in what we like to call fall in love, like date once, marry once, in terms of like animal
Lady in the
kingdom
Tramp
stuff.
Here's my question for you.
Yes.
Since we're on the topic of love, do you believe in monogamy?
No. Here's why. I don't believe that there is one set guideline sexuality wise for any couples forever. Because I believe kind of love dies, but I also don't believe love completely dies. I think love changes, and I think needs change. So I don't think it's ludicrous to say that all the people who move down to Florida to become swingers, to, you know what I mean? Like, it's a very common thing in Florida to like move there, get a swing party, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just what you're into at that time.
Florida, that place is hot and sticky all the time.
That's why. It's because it makes the orgies that much better. They're all
Makes them
hot and sticky
swampy.
and very swamp.
Kind of guys like
Yeah.
let's go down to, I don't know.
You can smell them from down the street. Oh,
You
there's
know
an
when the
orgy going on
potluck's
down
getting
there.
together because there's the aroma of old man sweat and casserole filling the air. Casserole. It doesn't even matter what kind of casserole.
You think in swinger parties they bring like potluck lunches?
Dude, if
and
there's
everything?
not a potluck at a swinger party, it's not a swinger party. It's just a bunch of people getting together to touch each other. If it's a party, they're bringing a potluck dinner.
All right, so have any of you guys been to a swinger party?
I have
No.
heard a lot
All right,
about
so-
them from a friend.
Oh God,
Have you?
Does them
He has,
every
for
once in a
sure.
while.
You have.
He has.
I love
enlighten
this.
us, please.
All right, so I was not able to participate because at the time I did not have a girlfriend or a wife or anything.
There's always that guy in the corner.
No.
See with the cameraman?
I had a friend.
He's the rad
I had
guy.
a friend who invited me over just to kind of see what it was about, and then I left. It's not really my jam,
Okay.
but
But there was jam. There was a
Lord.
lot of jam,
all
Stefan.
right. Well,
Oh,
it was
Lord.
interesting because they were doing a key party. So then everybody
I've heard
drops
about
their
this,
keys
yeah.
in the bowl.
And
Oh,
you just
that-
take it
that's
and
right.
you go
And
home
then-
with that person.
Right.
That's
yeah, whoever
crazy
keyed
to
it.
me. That's
Yeah.
scary.
And there's a female bowl and a male bowl. And,
Okay.
So it was an interesting
I don't
concept.
care, bowl.
Like a lottery.
But I actually learned a lot,
Hold
right?
on.
Because there's a lot of really big rules.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure
Hold
there
on,
are.
question. So with the key rules, like, so I'm a man. I'm interested in women. I pick from the
Women
women's
bowl.
Right.
Okay, cool.
And you would put,
Right.
I guess, I don't know what you
But
do.
what
with
I do
your-
with my keys? What do they just stay there?
Maybe you
I'm
give them to the
confused.
girls
No, like a
reassurance.
girl would come over and grab a key.
Maybe you trade
So-
keys and you
Well, I
drive
mean,
each other's
That's what I'm
cars,
saying.
too.
Like,
I don't know if it's just like one. Like I said, I didn't stay very long, but I know that. I think it was the women who pulled the men's keys.
That
That
seems...
is-
okay, that makes sense.
That's
now.
what makes sense to me because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
friend I
Okay.
have, she said that she went to a key party once and did not participate, but she said that like all of everyone threw their keys in a bowl and they all pulled them out, and she said she pulled out probably she's like, I didn't really want to do it, but just for sakes of like seeing who I got, I pulled out a key. And she said it was probably of everyone at the party the most ugly individual in the room.
Did you ever get your key back?
I think she said she snatched the key back. Oh, okay.
There it
I'm a little
was.
late, and there it is.
Man,
But
that's like
that's
15 seconds.
that's a disappointing time.
Back to this party though.
schedule.
I'm
Yeah.
highly intrigued.
Give us some of these rules. Like what?
All right, so one of like a really big one is that they don't have a problem with their wife sleeping with another man. A woman doesn't have a problem with a man sleeping with another wife,
Yeah.
but they have to be aware of it and approve it. All right, so you can't
Okay.
just sleep with somebody and then they find out about it. To them, that's cheating, and they do divorce and stuff over that.
So, but it's okay if they talk about it before.
If he approves it or she approves it, yeah, that's fine.
What do you think? How do you even start
That's
a
the
when does
conversation
that
like
approval
that?
take place though? In the middle of the party?
Yeah, like right then and there. Like you pull that key and she's
No,
like, she
the-
gives you a nod. She's like, you're good
See,
dog.
they've only invited people that they want to be there anyways.
Okay,
You
got
only
you.
come
Right,
because
right.
based on who you know.
So were you
coming
invited or did you
and-
show up?
No, my friend invited me just to kind of see what it was about.
Well, because I was about to say, I was like, so if you were invited, you were like an option for someone that night, I guess.
No. No, I was not an option. You were only an option.
Potentially an option is what
maybe.
I mean.
I've never been an option. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, I'm the kind of guy, like, I'm
not really a
I sit
sought-after
around to eventually you're
topic.
like, okay. I actually have my, but I'll leave that story out. But yeah, the party was an interesting concept. I like kind of going out and just kind of experiencing what people are talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I found out from one of my friends, like, he was a homosexual and he liked sleeping with women as well.
I had a gay friend that once told me he was super into like just helping women get off, I guess, but like he wasn't getting anything from it. And he's like, I feel like an awesome person morally. And I'm like, that's weird, but kind of I get it, I guess.
So, for me, it was just kind of going out there and just kind of experiencing it, not actually participating in it myself.
Almost like a Vice journalist. You're just like, wow, this is
what I was
crazy.
thinking too. It's like Vice.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a really sheltered environment. So for me to go out and kind of
do something like that
is
is
really
pretty.
Survive the world was to go out and experience the world.
Witness some kind of crazy taboo that puts it on reference.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff now. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What
I have a lot of
could you ever see yourself actually participating in a swingers party at some point in your life?
If I was single, again, completely
okay,
single.
so it's more of a you don't want to be married and go to these.
No.
Okay.
No, I am not a swinger in that way.
Mm-hmm. You don't physically think you could share someone that you are currently engaged to.
All right. So there was a time period with a person that I was with, in order to save the relationship, said that we should. And I said, well, then go ahead and end it.
Oh.
I'm not a possessive person.
But you have
that's one thing on my end that's
and there's nothing to be ashamed by that. You don't have to share your wife. Like that's been the mentality for most of time is you don't share your wife.
Yeah.
So
for me that was no, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
For her that was something that
she wanted to explore.
That was in order to save the relationship, and I said no, then don't save it.
And typically you would think a man would be more open to that than a woman.
I think it depends on what she as a person wants, and the statement I'll make
and
is
what type of relationship it is.
Yeah, I would say like and don't quote me on this, but most common sense is that a guy would rather have a three-way with two women versus two men if he's straight.
You say that, but it's very, very
and then you
awkward.
do it, and then you're like, well, it wasn't even that bad.
No, it's very, very awkward. You just you're not actually even a part of it. So what's the point? And this is not something that like I come to without knowledge of.
Yeah.
Like many people.
Oh, I've never done anything in my life without having prior background knowledge of it.
You ever hear, they're always like, yeah, man, I was with these girls. Oh, yeah, what'd you do?
Oh, it just happened.
Well, I pretty much just,
I watched for a while. It was kind of cool.
I gave her a ride home. And it's like, that's always the story.
Yeah. I definitely... I'll entice you all with this disappointing chapter of my life. There was a point one time to where I was approached by a female couple, and they were trying to see if I would be the third puzzle piece in that game of Twister that probably should never happen. And it ended with us all being in essentially a big group chat of like evaluating each other nude through pictures on Snapchat hilariously. Now, of course, we're all of age and there's nothing to be scared of or frightened of. But I ended up not doing it because, and I hate to say it, just the one was so gross. Is that an okay answer? Like,
yeah, you have to be attracted to a person.
My thing is if you're going to engage with two people at once, I think you should be completely attracted to both. I don't think it's enough to be, I don't think you can just look at one person the whole time and just that be enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're really going to really do it and really be intimate with more than one person at a time, I think you have to really like be on the same wavelength with all the people. You can't like just like keep that, get by mentality because you're about to try to get by with very awkward, sweaty interactions for the next potentially 2 hours, depending how long you've got in you.
That's why we have twins in the world.
What? Okay, let's talk about
two
that.
For one.
Are twins allowed to be in three ways together, or is that incest?
It depends on what site you're on.
Depends on what site.
Yes.
Depends which state you're in.
Yes. I guess, yeah. How good is the
Sweet
actor?
home Alabama.
Yeah. Are you in Arkansas or not? That's a good good indication to see if that's an appropriate place to be with your sister.
I would think if I had a twin, I would not be down.
No.
Like in any form or fashion to be in the same You're in the same zip code, really.
No.
If there was someone exactly like me, I would need them to be on the other side of the globe
I don't
for the
wanna
world not to
bump
hate
it.
us
Yeah,
both.
I don't want to accidentally bump into him at the mall, and everybody in the mall freaks out because they think I like broke the Matrix. So.
Isn't that that happened to me literally yesterday. I was walking down the hall. I turned the corner here right outside the radio station, and twins, these two big twins. Actually, one of them is always playing ping pong out in the student union, so you may have seen him, but he's got like a big afro.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, those
cool
twins, dude, I saw them.
Yeah.
I almost stopped them. And I know it's so inappropriate to do that, but I almost stopped and was like, thank you for existing.
Thank you for your
I
service.
appreciate symmetry,
And they have
and you
awesome hair.
two existing. Oh, I know. Their hair
love
is
their hair.
on
I'm
point.
jealous
We're
of
laughing a storm over here. This is amazing.
Somebody point them
awesome
out
hair.
for me.
They have awesome hair.
Always down in the student union.
Dude, the one's
Where I'm
always
going
playing
after
ping
this.
pong.
Yeah.
At least.
They're
But like
cool.
when I saw them, I know you're not supposed to stop twins just to be like, thank you.
Thank
But
you
oh
for
my
your
God,
service.
thank you for existing and keep on being each other. Because it's just so appeasing to me to see twins. Like there's nothing, oh God. Like if I could have a twin, I don't even know what I would just trade clothes throughout the
If you
day
had a
just to
twin, you
confuse
would've ate it
people.
in uterus.
I think I did, and that's where
Yeah.
it went. But we've got about 10 minutes, 9 minutes at the top of the hour. We're going to talk about something that I was talking about with someone else the other day, and we'll all give our points about it. Obviously, no one wants to be born with a birth defect, but in the case of this sentence, we are. If you had to be blind or deaf, and you have to pick one, which do you choose to live the rest of your life starting right now as?
That's really tough for me because I am. Wait, are deaf people allowed to drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because
Probably
Just to
shouldn't,
see.
but I don't know.
my two biggest hobbies or interests are cars and music.
Okay.
And that's like saying pick one. Because if I
Yeah.
go blind, I can't drive, but I still have music. But then I
Yeah.
kind of can't DJ either. You can't really DJ blind.
I disagree completely. You can DJ deaf.
Yeah. for the
Maybe
vibrations.
with bass lines,
Ooh,
yeah.
that's
but
true.
Yeah.
but if
That's
you got
how
like
deaf people listen to
vocals
music.
clashing, then how are you really going to be able to EQ mix?
Well,
Like you
luckily
can.
you're the DJ and you can pick what you're playing, but
That's true. That's true.
especially your type, because your type of music's a lot of
True.
line. You know,
I guess as far as DJing goes, the biggest pitfall would be EQ mixing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's kind of nobody's going to know that but us, me and Josh.
That's funny.
But I don't know. That'd make music a billion times harder. Or it'd make it harder to DJ. Listening would be fine. But then I can't do cars anymore.
Mhm.
And then if I'm deaf, that's still going to make
It's a
music
hard
lot
question,
harder.
right? It's not an easy
But I
one
can
to
still
differ.
drive.
Stephen, what would you do? I think you're leaning more towards probably sight, Brent, if I had to guess.
I'd probably have to.
What about you? Would
lose
you-
sight.
You lose your sight, so you want to be blind.
I don't want to,
No, I'm between the two options. Right.
but I mean, I'm like,
He's wishing and hoping every day that someone's eventually going to come up and stab his eyes out. But until then, nothing so far.
I'm like 60% leaning towards probably losing sight.
Mm-hmm.
But now, well, here's an interesting
Okay.
thing to offer to this. Are we losing this right now or at birth?
Right now.
Right now.
I gave you right now, so you had a life of sight and audio to enjoy.
Okay.
That way,
it's really nice of you. Thank you.
yeah, right.
Thank you.
I don't know how hard it is to be able to function.
That's my other thing is
losing
you
your
have to
sight.
now adapt. It's
Right.
not that you don't know how to live blind or you don't know how to live deaf. So starting today, you would have to learn. What is your pick, Stefan? Would you rather be blind or deaf if you had to
So
pick?
I take ASL.
Okay.
So I've had I guess the privilege of kind of learning what it's like to be deaf,
Okay.
and it's not as bad as one would think.
Really?
Also, there's advancements that have been made where it can help improve a person's hearing. Cochlear implants
Mhm.
usually are given at.
That's cheating, though.
Okay, I'm just saying. If
Starting
I was-
out, you've got only one.
Okay, I would choose to lose my hearing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would choose to hear my hearing.
What about you, Josh?
Sight, hands down.
Really? Do you have a reasoning for
I got
this?
tons of reasons.
I've got a really good reasoning for mine, so I'll
So
I'll
you
hear
lose your
yours.
sight, you lose your sight, and I want to lose my hearing. That's interesting.
What's your reasonings for this, Josh?
All right, so I imagine being able to love somebody for how they treat you and not how you see
I was
them.
thinking about that too.
Dang, that's heavy.
Imagine how many opportunities would open up to you as a comparison to now.
Yeah, I mean that's true too.
Because now you have to be attracted to them. You have to. It's part of the first step.
Yeah.
You see them before you do anything else.
That's a pretty good answer.
Now you lose your sight.
My reasonings are so much worse.
Oh Lord.
Well, I try to take the high road on most things.
So I like that. That's a very beautifully. Period. You should let every woman now think you're just a god of caring about compassion.
In your example, that's how people would treat you if they were blind, right?
Or if I would treat them if I was blind.
You would just okay.
I mean, because if I don't see you, I don't have any clue what you look like. The only thing I know
I've got
is
no idea what race you are. I have no idea what ethnicity you are. I've got no idea what.
And I've got one more reason too.
Okay, lay it on
in a
me.
relationship, one of the most important things in it is touch.
Yeah.
When you're blind, you rely on your partner by touching.
That's
them
what I thought about. That was one of my reasonings.
So
was
you're
that I think I would
constantly touching your partner.
Yeah, my so if I had to pick between the two, 100%, I would rather lose my eyes. Here's why. Number one, the two most important things to me in arm's reach are always music and my ding-a-ling. And my ding-a-ling's not falling off anytime soon, and I don't really need to hear to be able to like enjoy it, but I don't need to see to be able to enjoy it because it's not going anywhere. I'm not going to lose it.
Can you see it now?
Barely.
Under the table? I mean, can you? Let
me check. Let me make sure.
And Brent has left. I don't know why. But I think I would rather lose my sight just because of how important music is to me. How I've always got earbuds in. I'm always talking about music. I'm always listening to music. Plus, Ray Charles could learn to play the piano blind. Why can't I? You know what I mean? Like, there's still plenty of stuff I like to do that I couldn't.
Was it Beethoven who was deaf?
Ray Charles was blind. Beethoven was deaf.
I think he wasn't initially, but he developed.
Something happened.
Yeah, but early though, if I remember.
Yeah, he was. Well, everything was early back then. Like, he would die at 40. Yeah.
Can you imagine being 40 and that's considered like an old man of that time? Because you're like, oh, your day's coming, old man.
Like, I'm 20, so I'm like, oh, I'm halfway through.
Half your life is done. Yeah, me too.
Like, I'm still digging holes.
Yeah, middle age of 14.
No.
Imagine a car you'd have to buy then. Like,
you mean a wagon?
You mean a horse? I was like, what do you mean cars? It was like, they didn't even have steam engines.
28, that was, you were...
Probably married, had some kids by then.
At that point, man.
Dude, have we adapted? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the world is revolting in time because like now, so many of my friends who are 20, 19 are getting married, having kids. What is happening? Why is this happening so much? Are we like trying to rewind the world? We're like, maybe we just get married earlier. The same rules will affect the climate change, and we won't be doomed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people are in a hurry to grow up.
Maybe that's what it is.
Wait till they do.
I think it's a case of you not really knowing what you want, and you're out of fear just settling.
Yeah,
because you're scared to die alone. When in all reality, give it 10 years, and you'll probably in those 10 years at least meet a really good friend worth living for. You know what I mean?
I'm saying date around. Is what I'm saying. Date.
I think there should be a period of everyone's time.
There is not one person for you.
Yeah.
I've lived my life telling you there's not one person. For me, there was a lot.
I think there is one person for everyone. I don't think that's a dating thing. I think that you are your own person. Because at the end of the day, you're the only person you get to talk to forever.
You're talking about self-love. You don't get enough of that.
One love. Actually, this is the joke I wrote the other day that we will not leave us off on, but we will leave you thinking about. When a comedian decides to play with himself, it is no longer called masturbation. It is called entertaining himself.
Bruh.
Not really. It's called hoping someone will laugh at your 20 minutes of silence and praying to God that no one hates you after it.
Bruh.
But
so how old were you when you first? My bad.
Oh, no, you're fine. No, go ahead, please.
How old were you when you first got married?
I was 24, I think.
And then your second marriage?
I was 28. Yeah.
How long did the first one last?
Not too long.
Yeah, I was about to say.
We got married. I immediately went to Honduras, and she waited a good day before she started sleeping around. So I'll give that
good day.
Wow. She was cold as ice.
That was one of those military deals.
She was 18.
Okay.
And she was an exotic dancer.
Okay.
Wow.
And yeah. So
I think I would not mind
I had hoped to change her into what I wanted her to be, and that's not the right thing because she is who she is.
Right.
Right. So she ended up getting pregnant with somebody else's kid, and that was the final straw for me. But it took a long time for me to actually get divorced from her because she disappeared.
Wow.
So that's why it took as long as it did.
Where'd you guys meet?
Huh?
Where'd you guys meet?
The Bermuda Triangle.
Alabama.
Yeah. I was in the service down at Fort Rucker at the time. And
I was going to ask, were you in the military?
Well, thank you for
your
service.
I had just recently gotten over my first girlfriend. She had left me while I was in Honduras the first time. So I was still kind of hurt from that, and that's when I kind of just sped up, and she was kind of my rebound wife, I suppose.
Rebound wife.
Hey,
yeah.
there's got to be
Good
one.
move.
Yeah. And then
Ladies
the
and-
second one, I got married at 28. So
That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to do this, but we have reached the end of the hour. If you would like to join this craziness again, of course, next Wednesday, 2:30 to 3:30. We hope we didn't scare you away from Wright State Radio forever this week, I guess. We'll have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, this is Mac Miller, and you're listening to WWSU.